Hi, my name is Carly Ching, and I'm a research scientist at Boston University. The overuse of antibiotics in agriculture and when raising food-producing animals can lead to antimicrobial resistance, also known as AMR, which makes infections difficult or impossible to treat. We performed this study to identify how key policy documents and reports frame the issue of AMR and antibiotic use in animals. And by frame, we mean the language and themes used to persuade someone to act or engage with an issue. How information or a message is framed can impact a person's motivation to change their behavior. And one of the reasons that we performed this study is that with growing attention to AMR as a One Health problem, in which humans, animals, and the environment are connected, effective messaging targeting specific sectors may get lost. In this case, we focused specifically on whether messaging was effective for farmers or farm workers and for global policy. For example, highlighting risks to human health for the general population speaks to the public, while highlighting economic risks to farmers provides specific motivations to the farmers themselves. So next, I'm going to describe what we actually did for this study. We analyzed international policy documents from the Quadripartite Joint Secretariat on AMR. We looked specifically at all parts of the document that related to antibiotic use in food-producing animals, and for each line of text identified what motivational frame was being used. We found that overall, documents highlighted consequences to public human health the most, even though we were looking at sections of text about food-producing animals. We found two major animal-specific frames were used, on food production and security and on animal health and welfare. Across all documents, there was a tendency to focus on one of these main animal health-related reasons for addressing AMR, rather than balancing multiple motivations. And notably, frames that speak to the self-interest of farmers, such as their own health or own economic interests, were rarely used. In terms of sector or culturally tailored messaging, while human and animal health are connected in a One Health approach, the expectations are often different. In agriculture and farming, there's a push to be voluntarily better than standard practices, while in human healthcare, clinical guidelines on antimicrobial use are the standard. This difference can confuse or upset farmers when their everyday practices are labeled as misuse. Farming norms can also vary by country, so to build trust and cooperation, it is important to use inclusive, non-blaming language. Overall, there were some key takeaways and recommendations from our study. One was to create messages and communication materials that are more personally relevant to the end user, using clear language and choosing frames that support global interests and cooperation. Another was to avoid assumptions about people's background knowledge and consider different cultural contexts. Another recommendation is to link farmers' health and economic interests to broader public health benefits, which can strengthen overall messaging. Although our focus was on reducing indiscriminate antibiotic use in food-producing animals, we found that One Health messaging still leans heavily towards human health. An effort still needs to be made to present an integrated perspective across all One Health domains. Altogether, our study shows that in regards to AMR, it's important to carefully think about the language being used and how that's being received by the target audience. If you want to learn more about this study, please feel free to check out the link in the description.